We're going live. There it goes.
There we go.
And we're live.
Howdy, everybody. How's everybody doing? Oh, so we got some different topics we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about different crops, I guess you can make flour and meal out of.
Not just crops, but different things.
Different things. Let's see.
But you wanted to touch on something first. I guess if we're going to get kicked off YouTube, we might as well go ahead and do it first.
Get kicked off real quick.
Yeah.
Hope everybody's doing okay. We've had a beautiful week. Part of it.
Janelle's here.
Hey, Janelle, how you doing? Good to see you.
I guess I need to pull my glasses down so I can read.
This Sunday and Monday and Tuesday was very beautiful days here. I got a little surprise this morning. It was raining when I got off work. My guys at work got on to me because I'm their weatherman. They said, you didn't say nothing about rain.
My weatherman, too.
And I said, hey, I hadn't looked at it in a day and a half because last time I looked at it was Thursday when our problems was coming.
But you know what I rely on?
The wet rock.
The weather rock. It's not a wet rock because if it's wet, it's raining.
Yeah,
if
you went by that all the time, you wouldn't ever get nowhere.
You would. It's
No,
more reliable than the weather some days.
No, but I can make plans a little bit.
It's miss and run.
Yeah. Yeah, I missed that this morning. We walked out and it was raining pretty good. So last time I looked at my weather, it said tomorrow. So I guess I'm gonna have to make sure my thing updates.
All
more.
animals are back in the room again.
Yeah.
So just be forewarned. Callie just hopped up on the couch.
Right.
So there's about to be a fight at some point.
Yep. So it will be.
But sister's actually playing with her toy at Mark's feet.
So how's everything been with you this week, Janelle? I know I seen you was out in the woods for a few days. Y'all go camping and fishing, or I think that's what I saw. I may be wrong. And Lauren is going to be on Encrypted Connections. I think
cool.
Tomorrow night. I think it is. Am I right on that, Janelle? I think I seen where she's going to be on there tomorrow night.
Looking for camping area.
Oh, okay. Cool. You going to get to come to the outing? Or y'all going to get to make that? I hadn't texted you and asked you to do that yet. I guess I need to. But got a couple of items I'm going to talk about tonight. Of course, one of them is going to be the different things you can make flour and meal out of.
And yes, she's on tonight also.
Huh?
She's on tonight also.
Oh, okay. I can't keep up with everybody no more. There's so many podcasts.
And they're probably not going to make the outing.
They're not going to? Okay. I understand. It's a lot that's a long way to come. I understand.
And a lot of other stuff going on at the same time.
That's true. Yeah, March is a busy month. I mean, I'd love to go out there. I just don't know if we're going to be able to or not. The way you're working, and I'd love to go out there and visit with them.
But her show's on tonight.
Oh, Lauren's show?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If Kyle comes, we'll try to make that.
Okay. Yeah, Kyle, I had talked to him lately. I don't know what his plans are. Really just don't know. I hadn't heard. I know if he said he was going to get to come, it'd be more toward summer. I think what he told me. Because he does want to come down. I think he's wanting to visit Flat Rock, and I think he's wanting to go to the Panhandle of Florida too and visit that Donnie Miller, I think. And when he found out it was all that pretty close together, and I think he's wanting to make a round through Arkansas. So, and I really love to go start doing some Arkansas stuff myself, since some of my people are from there. And I'd love to go see those Ozarks. That's one place I've really never seen is Ozarks.
Late April, early May.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind. He ain't texted me lately, but he told me he would. So
Late April, early May, starting to get hot.
yeah. Still have some cool nights happen.
Possibly.
Have blackberry winter happen.
Isn't that usually towards the end of May?
I thought is May when they considered that blackberry winter,
Okay.
but I may be wrong.
I have no clue.
You know what my daddy would say when it went down in the 40s and 50s in May? He said, "We're in a blackberry winter." So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you have what the fall's Indian summer, ain't it?
And dog days. I'll be back. Hey, what's up?
Anyway, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the first thing. We'll go ahead and talk about. I thought a few more people. I was kind of waiting to see if a few more people were gonna jump on board. That way they wouldn't miss it. But talk about the train derailment in Ohio back on February the 3rd. They had a big train derailment. Found out there was a lot of toxic chemicals on that train. Of course, it was turning into a pretty good disaster, and a lot of problems going to happen with that. But where I'm coming from, and of course my kids are in Ohio. Anytime anything happens in Ohio, I try to pay attention to that a little bit because my kids are there. But that's turning into a pretty good disaster up there. It's already affecting.
Jealous.
It's already
That's Misty's
affecting.
own.
Hey, Misty. It's already affecting that area. It could end up infecting Kentucky, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. But what I was going to go with this, I'm not here to knock the railroads. They move a lot of our material, and if it wasn't for them, we'd be back like we were in the early 1800s. So, but what I was getting at is on this is it is going to affect. They're saying it could have ended up affecting 30 million people before it's over with. But here lately, there's been a lot of train derailments going on. I don't know what the reason it is. I don't know if they're not just doing good maintenance on their tracks or
Well, the weather's affecting some of them.
Yeah,
Because, like in our area, that flooding blew out some of the tracks.
right. So
they've got a lot of maintenance they
But-
need to do.
what I was fixing to really say about it is that be mindful of your homesteads being in close proximity to railroads because we're half a mile from one. It's the main track. It goes from Birmingham down into Columbus, Georgia, then heads on to Savannah, Georgia. Hauls a lot of material. There's something to be mindful about because I know up there they're having a lot of farm animals are dying from this, and it's something to be really thinking about with your homestead if you're close to railroads. And so keep that in mind.
She said, I can't believe they're giving people the okay to go back and drink the water when they know livestock and fish are dying around the area.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken. Ken Beatty.
Hey, Ken, how you doing? So glad to have you on. So
Oh, I didn't tag you. Let me go back and fix that.
So y'all keep in people in prayer up there, and it could easily be us or y'all. All of us live pretty close to railroads, and there's a lot of stuff hauled on railroads. So this is not to knock railroads. This is just to say something to keep in mind. That's going to affect a lot of people. Of course, I keep up with it a little closer because my kids are in Ohio, so I keep kind of dibs on the state of Ohio just because my kids are there. Not just saying that, but too, just at the impact it could have.
Yeah, it seeps into the groundwater and then reaches the streams. Lots of things that it can spread from, and it's not just a train that you need to worry about, it could be a plane crash, because we
Sure.
had that happen here too. Who
Yeah,
knows
but
what
yeah.
they're carrying, you know?
Yeah, we did. We had a not far from here, about a mile
Mhm.
from here. We had a plane crash. Luckily, it was just a small plane, and but something is to think about. Um, I wasn't gonna go in deep on that too much, just because, but I did want to mention y'all keeping people in prayer up there in that part of the country. Um, I mean, the pictures I've seen from it, and it's just it's going to end up being a big mess for us over with.
Mhm.
Uh, that Ohio River supplies a lot of water up and down through there for West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky. That's one of our big rivers. A lot of freight moves on that river. So there's all kind of stuff that could affect us all down the road, actually. So, and I know there wasn't a lot of big news watching that. That's strange too. It seemed like they was more fixated with the UFOs than they were that. So,
Of course.
you know, not saying them wasn't UFOs. I have no idea. Those could have been something to divert everybody's attention, if you know what I mean.
More than likely.
But anyway, let's get on the.
Bushcraft talked about it. Plus, Ohio ends up in MS, Mississippi.
Well, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
Yep. So it's gonna, if it reaches the river, it'll flow all the way down.
Yeah, there's
Affect
having,
everything around that area.
and some of y'all are closer to that
Oh,
area than
Spencer
we
finally
are.
made it on.
I know a lot of y'all are a lot closer to that region of the U.S. than we are. But we got our, a lot of things down here close to us that we keep an eye on too. So, just go to show you though that within a couple of minutes, boy, things can turn into a mess. I'm talking about a mess. It can turn into a big mess.
What are they trying to distract us from?
There's no telling. There's no telling. I try not to be a conspiracy theorist too much, but
all the stuff with Biden going on.
yeah, be careful what you say.
I know.
Be careful.
And his son. And yeah, there's a lot of things out there going on.
It's pitiful that we have to hear on YouTube watch what we say.
Yeah.
This kind of gripes my tail.
Potato, that's it. Potato. Mm-hmm.
There's no telling. And I would even wonder. I ain't gonna say that.
Nope. I was gonna say, just stay back.
Back
we I done lost Facebook once. Let's not lose YouTube too.
Yeah. All right.
On to flour.
On to
meal.
flour and meals. So you want to start it off? You want me to start it off?
I can.
Go ahead.
So, flour and meal. So there are a lot of different types of flour out there. And as Mark was getting into, different uses for flour, like you've got bread flours, cake flours, and all this other stuff, but you've also got almond flour, coconut flour, all these other different types of flours that you can go out and purchase. The thing you got to remember about most of the different types of flours before he goes into this is they're not going to have the same structure that your commercially available wheat type flour has.
Right.
So keep that in mind when you are looking at alternative flours. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of different things you can make flour and meal from. Sister, your butt almost went in my drink.
Come here.
I mean, do
there
something with your puppy.
All right, stay down there.
With your pet.
Stay. Lay down on the floor.
You're right.
Lay down on the floor.
Banana pancakes. Hey, that was good.
Yeah.
Y'all, I have been making that for a long time. There's not an ounce of flour in that. It's a banana. Go ahead and get your baby and put her like you're supposed to put her.
There we go. Let's
There you
get
go.
situated here with the dog. All right.
Okay. Puppy's a happy puppy now.
Oh,
I make
mercy.
a gluten-free pancake, and it's just a banana and an egg. Seriously, it does the same thing like an omelet does. You know, the egg kind of rises as it cooks, and then you mix it with that banana. Now I put cinnamon. I actually put pumpkin pie spice in mine, but you can put anything in there you want to flavor it. We topped it with cane syrup that a friend of ours made, and then man, if I'd had fresh blueberries, and I forgot about them strawberries. I could put all that on there too with a little bit of fresh cream, maybe even. Y'all, that's all I got to say. Diets don't go well here.
No, they don't.
Even with the
Y'all can
best,
tell.
even with the best of intentions.
I like to eat. That's
So yeah, let's see. Mark D has made it on now.
hello, Mr. Mark.
And let me just say about the pancakes. You know, I did that video this morning about them on Facebook. I put them in the skillet this morning. I don't like doing them in the skillet. I would prefer to do them in the waffle maker. I don't have to flip nothing then or anything, and it's just so much less mess. But it's harder to clean than the skillet was. So nearly, what is that? Nearly D, nasty D. Oh yeah, that nasty D. Maybe I should take my glasses off. No, that's worse. That nasty D, that diet word. Yeah, that's a horrible word. But if you try that, try it in a waffle maker instead. It works so much better. Just keep that in mind. So now, Mark, what all can we make alternative flours from?
Basically, about anything that makes a seed.
And it's a dry seed.
It's a dry seed, but they do seem to go in categories where they're better for. Of course, wheat, oats, barley, buckwheat, rye.
These are all known things.
These are more of your grains that would make wheat. Most of that most of that flour would go toward light bread making, that type of stuff. Then you branch off into your vegetables that you can make flour out of.
Yeah, vegetables, guys.
Now, of course, you can harvest the seed from your vegetables, and when they're dry, so you can make field pea flour,
lentil,
any of your bean family. That'd be the running beans, your bush beans, limas, butter beans. They all can make flour.
That Valentine's meal, that was a good meal.
Yeah, it was. Okra.
Okra seed. Yep.
Okra seed.
That one kind of surprised me, but it didn't really surprise me.
In fact, there's some people really trying to push that now. Now, of course, like Rebecca said, when you get into different type of flours, they're going to be used for different things. They're better suited for their certain stuff.
Well, as all of you know, gluten-free flours do not work the same as a flour with gluten.
Right.
So if
you're
already used to gluten-free products, then these alternatives are not going to be a problem.
You can pretty much go up on the internet and find just about everything about. Like a while ago, I didn't know we had hickory flour. I knew
flours.
We had pecan, walnut,
all your nut flours,
and almond, but I didn't know that we had hickory. That kind of surprised me. Boy, that'd be good.
And acorn.
That's acorn flour. Also, of course, peanuts, peanut flour.
Of course, if you've got peanut allergies.
Yeah. So there's just so many things. Now, of course, like she said, texture is where it's going to come in.
Of your final product.
Right, but number two, certain ones do better certain ways. Some of them's better for baking cakes with or cookies. Some's better for bread. Some's better for waffles and pancakes. So
some are better for breading,
yeah,
like your meats and things like that.
Right.
They, none of these alternative flours have a gluten structure to them. You will have to add if you're wanting it to rise like biscuits and stuff like that, you're going to have to add like your baking powders and sodas and stuff like that. And I don't know, but those might have gluten in them. I cannot remember what all is gluten free anymore. We did gluten free when Ella was 10, I think. And that was like a nightmare because everything out there has gluten in it.
Right.
It was just unreal.
Well, I know Danny from Deep South
Flat Rock.
because he has a lot of problems and he uses rice flour a lot because
Mhm.
it's gluten free. I think he uses peanut flour
Mhm.
and almond flour.
Doesn't he use coconut too?
I think so. He
Yeah.
uses coconut.
Because these are the ones that are readily available.
Right.
So he's getting into making his own flours.
Right.
But he's mostly doing cornmeal, I think, and corn flour.
He does a lot of corn flour.
Yeah.
We'll get into the meals here in a few minutes. We'll go ahead.
Well,
So-
I mean, can't you go ahead and do meals? What do you do while you do the flours?
Yeah.
Because what's the difference between meal and flour?
Well, I was going to go into some of your better corns for flour and some of that.
But what's the difference between meal and flour?
How much you grind it down.
Tell them.
Of course, flour is very fine. Like on a meal, you would tighten up your stones. If you was going to make flour, you tighten it up very tight because you want that powder to come out. Where meal is more granule. Of course, every one of you probably grew up in a house where they had those sifters. My mother had one, this old metal thing. They had the two,
The handle.
the handle with the two pieces of like wire, and she'd sit there and she'd sift it even more for like baking and whatever she was, going to do. And that thing's still over
Also
Mama's.
gets those chunks out of your flour where moisture's got in there.
Right. So, to make flour, most of these companies, they're running it through a process where it stays in there longer, where it finds it up more. And they have screens that catch, as stuff falls and it'll go rerun or it makes another product. But actually, you can get your own little hand meal at home. They make them. In fact, I seen an antique one on Marketplace for about $150. It has a big wheel with a turn, and you can sit there and make your own flour. In other words, you can have your own wheat berries.
I haven't seen an antique one of those, but
yeah, they.
Oh, I'm not saying.
But you can buy a modern one too.
Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of modern ones.
Yeah. This one was.
I was wondering if you were going to catch that, Misty.
What's that?
Spelling of flour.
Oh yeah. Did you spell it wrong?
No, she did.
Oh, okay.
So she asked, and I don't know if you've looked into this or not.
Okay.
So a lot of times when you use acorns, you have to actually boil the tannins out because it's got that not toxic, but bitterness to it.
Yeah, it's got
and
bitterness.
She wants to know if when you make flour, do you have to do that first to the acorns?
I don't know. I never have made acorn flour.
I didn't know if you looked at it or not.
So. I didn't go that deep into it. I was really just going tonight to talk about the different things you can make flour, but now as far as getting in the process, I probably need to read up on that because me and you have an abundance of acorns on this place. We have an
abundance of acorns.
I know our ancestors used acorns. Mm-hmm. And it's like anything else, too much of it can hurt you. I don't know what their process, but I will look into that because you've got me thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I know they use chestnuts a lot because when the chestnut trees were very available back in the 1800s, early 1900s, before that blight hit that wiped out most of them, they really utilized chestnuts and they made a lot of flour out of it. If you go back to the Foxfire books, and I was going to say, the Foxfire, if you can get a hold of them,
I love
they're very expensive books. In fact, my kinfolks is in one of them, the Burtons. They're from the North Georgia bunch over around Rayburn County. But if you can get they're expensive. Now, sometimes you can find them, fairly reasonable. But if you want a set of books that really goes into depth on how our ancestors done things and how they built things, that's some good books to look at.
There's like a series of 20 something of them.
Right.
And every now and then you can find them as a set, but definitely check your local stores that have used books and see if they have them, because you'll stumble across them every now and then.
Right. Well, I stumbled across one that I didn't have and didn't pay but $5 for.
That was it. Wasn't bad at all.
Where if you go online and try to order one, they're $70-$80 a piece. And I don't know if they've made Foxfire available on the internet as far as downloading it, reading it.
Probably not, because that defeats the purpose of it, I think. I'm going to go ahead and mention another good book. I don't know if anybody can read that,
put it up there,
but it says Practical Homesteading. And it is a book by John Vivian. It's the Manual of Practical Homesteading. And this is basically a book that it's an old book, but it gives you how this one family went from nothing to a complete homestead, basically. And it gives their kind of guidelines of through the year what to do. It's got a rabbit breeding plan in here for just having that family only's worth of meat in here. So this is a book that I got a long time ago, and I just love this book. So,
and if any of y'all want to get into rabbits, me and Rebecca will set you up, because I'm fixing to have a cleaning house down
Miss
here.
Janelle is fixing to leave us because she's got to go moderate Lori's show.
Okay, that's
she'll catch us later.
Thank you, Janelle, for coming on. Yeah, I knew we was going to get in somebody's time slot, but it's just the way it is.
Yep. Well, people need to stop bouncing around. We picked a time trying to avoid everybody, and everybody's bouncing around. So anyway,
it is.
So maybe next Wednesday we should do the best books for homesteading.
Yeah, that'd be a good series, because we got a ton of them.
Yep, because I am a book lover.
Well, there's one thing to think about books.
That is knowledge you will always have.
If this internet shuts down for some reason, you would still be able to have something to access to maybe help you with something. I've still got my dad's
Discover Sasquatch made it on.
Hey Chris, how you doing, man? I got my daddy's.
Bye, Janelle.
But Janelle, we'll talk with you later. I've got my dad's ag books from 1940. He graduated school in 1944. He was born in 1926. As soon as he graduated, he went off to World War II and fought in Europe. But I've got his complete set of his ag books from 1944 or from high school. Of course, that's almost 100 years later, 80 years, close to it. But a lot of that stuff is very still relevant in them books in there. I could take them books and still figure out stuff I needed to figure out. Even though we're in modern farming, I could go do it the way our ancestors done it. Yeah, it puts more work on me. It's more mechanical, but I could. I like
the stories in Foxfire.
Yes, I can't remember what book my kinfolks are in. It's about gristmilling, and it's in North Georgia in Rayburn County.
Isn't blacksmithing in the same book?
It may be. I can't remember. That book's over there somewhere. I don't know where it's at. We got to get the complete series.
We do. We have 3.
I thought we had 3 or 4.
We have 3. I'm sitting there looking at them. There's 2 white and 1 brown, I think.
Yeah. There's all kind in there. It's the Foxfire books, and probably most of you are probably really familiar with them. There's a little bit of everything in there, from hunting to fishing to building stuff, the homemaking crafts. I mean, the whole 9 yards. And, very good series and everything. But
that may be what we do next week is books.
Okay. Well, let's get back on the fly. Well, we done got off over yonder
I didn't bring up Foxfire. Isn't that how these shows go? We just bounce around till we get somewhere.
Right. Going back to flour real quick though, before we get off of it into something else.
Again.
Like I said, they make these little meals that you can purchase. You can go online, look at them. They're probably going to be $100 or so. That could really do a change for you, because then you could order your own stuff, or you could go find it.
Yep.
I will say this about wheat berries, about ordering them. There's some companies out there, and I can't remember all of them right offhand, that grow organic wheat. And what I mean by organic wheat, it ain't a GMO wheat. One other thing I'm going to bring up about wheat and oats and a lot of crops.
Hold on. GMO and organic's two different things.
Okay.
So, organic wheat berries may still be a GMO crop, but they don't spray anything on them.
Okay.
So you got to look for organic and GMO. Organic,
I thought GMO
is a genetically modified,
where they
so
could
that
spray it.
So that they can, yes. But if the people choose to use that seed, it still can be called organic if they don't spray it. I know it begs the question of why would you use that seed if you're not gonna spray it? But
what I was going to say, what most people don't know about harvesting grain, except corn, they kill it with Roundup before they gather it, because they want all that crop to be dead at one time. That way, when they go in that field with these big combines, they want to be able to harvest that whole field, because if they don't, if some of it's still green, they get docked.
Yep.
In other words,
which I guess I need to mention something here about that too. Non-GMO does mean Roundup Ready, that it cannot be killed by Roundup
in its early
stages.
Right.
So
now later on it can be. Going back, what I was going to say, if you order, say, a 50-pound bag of wheat to make your own flour, or a 50-pound bag of rye, or oats, whatever you get, if you don't go out and gather it yourself, look and see who you're buying it from, because most harvesting in this country is done with big combines, and they spray it before they harvest it.
Yep.
So you're getting traces of that in that.
Yep.
You can grow your own. It's labor intensive.
Very. And it's not all ready at the same time.
It's not all ready at the same time. Now, the way our ancestors done it, they'd actually go and cut it and put it in bundles and let it air dry. And then they would move it up to their barn or wherever, and they would thrash it. And thrashing is to get all the junk off of it. It's very time consuming. But if push comes to shove, you can do it. But
can I say something else?
Go ahead.
Something else to think about when you're buying your own berries to make flours and stuff from, or your own wheat, whatever you want to call them. Bugs are a real thing. You need to heat treat to kill them bugs, or freeze it.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Our ancestors used their flour pretty quick. That's why they didn't have big issues with it, because they went through it. I mean, they ate bread every day. They was either making some kind of bread or biscuits or something. So flour was a big thing on the homesteads back then. We could actually probably get away with not having flour as much nowadays. But going back though real quick, we'll go over this real quick. Pretty much any type of nuts within reason you can make flour out of. So that'd be pecan, walnut, peanuts, hickory, acorns. I imagine you could do it with pistachio, almond, probably cashews. Probably any of those would make a flour. There are certain vegetables, also seeds like the beans, okra, I mean, you could do it with pumpkin seed, probably watermelon seeds. You could probably do
Sunflower.
all that. Sunflower,
Isn't there a safflower flower already?
I think it is. Also, you can take vegetables, dehydrate them, and then turn them into
Powder.
flour. In other words, pumpkins, carrots. I even seen lettuce and that stuff listed. I said lettuce, but
Yes. Wow.
now one thing I did read is each flour has a protein content. Uh, Different flours will have a protein content, so um, that's something probably to remember too. So there's a bunch of different things that you could do. In other words, if you grew a garden at hand, you had a bunch of beans left over, you could grind that and make flour. Okra, when all of your okra pods get dry, you can go gather them on, you can grind it and make flour. So there's a bunch of things, and of course, I hate to say it, internet can tell you a lot what's going on, and I hate to rely on it so much, but it is very fast, and you can be on there in just a minute and look at stuff. So
The thing about using the internet, make your notes.
yeah,
That
or
way
print
you
it
have
off.
them.
Print it off. That way you have a hard copy. If Because this thing will act up every now and then, and we're probably going to see a little more of that happen.
Oh yeah.
Corn. We'll go into meal real quick. Now, of course, meal is not as fine as, and most of y'all know that. I mean, I'm going to go into a couple of varieties of corn that are better for making meal out of. And corn is kind of in three groups. Of course, you have your yeller, you have your white. Certain parts of the country, they like yeller meal better. In certain parts of the country, they like white meal better. Of course, here in the South, most of it was white meal. And they had some varieties that made very good meal. Hickory King. It's an old variety. It's been around since the 1800s. It was developed in North Carolina. It makes kernels about the size of my thumbnail, and I have a big thumb. So you think that's a big kernel. Makes a big old ear, about a foot long, about that big around. There's Moses Prolific.
Moonshine. How did we get to moonshine that fast?
Hastings Prolific. Tucker's Favorite. Pencil Cob. There's a bunch of other varieties that are very good white meal corn. Then you have your feed corns that a lot of people grew, which is typically yeller, which will usually be Tucker's Favorite. You can make meal out of it too. Your sweet corns don't do very well as to making meal out of it, because when their seed dries, they shrivel. You could do it, but they're going to be real small. It takes a lot of corn to make meal. It'd be a very, very high starch meal. So if you're wanting to make meal out of corn, you need to look at the varieties I just told you. And if any of y'all want some of that, I can get it for you. But you can go online and get it too. But if you want some out of my stock, I can get you some, get you started. The white corn varieties are the ones that usually get 10 or 12 foot tall. So they're very tall corn. They usually produce 2 ears, maybe 3 at the most. The bad thing about them, they do have the smut that gets on. And that smut is that big fungus that pops out on them.
That some people like.
Some people like.
Not me.
So
I've never tried it though.
Right. So corn is kind of in 3 categories. One's better for feed, and you get in those varieties, which most of them are going to be hybrid. Most of them are going to be GMO now. Then you have your sweet corns that's better for, eating off the cob or making cream corn out of. And then you have your corn that goes more for meal, which is, I would recommend Hickory King, Moses Prolific, or Hastings Prolific. That's the 3 I would look at. They do very well.
Or Danny corn.
Well, Danny corn is probably going to be one of those. That's actually
it's a mixture of them, I'm sure.
It probably is. and you can get Danny corn from Danny. You can take a good handful and plant in a garden, and by next year you could save your seed, and you could have enough. Uh, you know, it's just a good corn. It's been around a long time. It's pretty good disease resistant and bug resistant. Of course, you're gonna get the army worms no matter what you do, or corn worm, whatever you're gonna call it. They're always gonna be up on the end of it. It's hard to get rid of those without sprays. So there are some different varieties of corn that you can look at meal, and we've told you about different nuts and different vegetables that you could make flour out of. If we got to the point where you couldn't get to the store because we were in a problem, with supply or something, you could actually go around and gather up some stuff and make you some flour. Now it's going to be work. I mean, you sit there and think about trying to crack a bunch of pecans
or acorns
or hickory nut. Oh Lord, hickory nut, busting all them and trying to get the meat out of them, or walnuts. You're talking about a chore, but you would have it. Of course, by then, if we were in that shape, you're not going to mind work anyway because your eating's going to depend on that.
Yeah. Well, and there's something else I just thought of. He was sitting here naming all of these nut type flours. Y'all got to make sure you know how to store those things too. Do I know how to store them? No. How many people have seen nuts go rancid?
True.
Flour made from the nuts will do the same thing. So this is not a long time storage flour, I'm sure. So just things to keep in mind. There are a lot of different things that you can make flour from depending on what season you're in, for one, where you are, and what's available. So,
and it's a good topic to talk about and learn about because, we go back to our ancestors. Huh?
Keep going.
What was said?
I'll tell you. Keep going.
Okay. All right. When you got fuss and fighting already.
No.
Hey, Spencer's quiet tonight.
Well, let's see. One of them, since you done want to talk about what's there, we've done got moonshining brought up.
We can talk about moonshine a little bit.
Spencer is quiet. He's not in these comments at all. And Ken said when the zombie apocalypse happens, he's headed to our place. I said no. Find you. Just kidding.
Let's see. Moonshine. Oh boy.
He said that around the time you were talking about corn and stuff. So, lots of uses for lots of different things.
My dad's people did make it and sell it.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather got part of his earlobe shot off running from a revenue back in 1941, too. Then my great-grandfather made it, and of course he had a run, and all his people he supplied to were all the big shots, so nobody messed with him. In fact, he'd have a barn dance at his place once a month and sell his liquor, and the sheriff and the judge and everybody else come to visit.
Yep.
And he had a run, and I don't know why the federal government wasn't messing with him.
Because they were enjoying it too, I'm sure.
I imagine. I don't know. But he was a mean little man, too, what I heard. I mean, he's a good man.
Potato skins and vodka, isn't it?
But he didn't,
Potato skins and vodka, isn't it? I mean, we're going all over the place now. Yeah. Ken says apple pie.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you the corn that my grandfather used was Hickory King for his liquor. So he got two things out of that corn. Meal and liquor.
Yep.
Don't know why he liked that variety, but he did.
And he probably got three things out of it because you had to do something with shuck and the corn cob.
Well, he probably throw that over in the hog pen.
That's what I was meaning.
And they may have saved the corn cob for other purposes too.
That's what I was meaning. That is exactly what I was meaning.
They didn't have toilet paper back in.
And then they threw that to the hog still, didn't they?
Huh?
Didn't they throw it to the hog still?
Do we really want to get into
Not
that
really.
on here? Okay. All right. Let's don't get into slop buckets.
Oh, we are using what's available. You never know when you need. if we're talking a zombie apocalypse, we might need alcohol just to avoid it.
Well, the
Just
alcohol would actually come in as antiseptic too.
Well, and to avoid it.
Well, yeah, yeah. It'll be a bartering thing too.
Yes.
It would be something to barter with.
Yep.
Something to really think about.
Well, there's a lot of things we could do during a zombie apocalypse if we really want to talk about all that.
Right. I tell you, if you can build a community where you live, and what I mean by a community,
same, Misty, same,
is build a community where you live, where you've got some people that have different skill sets. Where maybe one guy's got a sawmill, one guy's got a grist mill, one guy's got a liquor still.
Somebody can cook, somebody's a nurse.
Yeah, you got your people that can sew, you got your people that are good in medical. It's good. That's why me and Rebecca have been trying to do these campfires on once a month on Saturday night. It's trying to build a community.
Your community.
To try to build a support system where if something does take place, and more likely it is, you would have a support system there.
Ken's coming with his arsenal now.
Oh, okay. Bring some food with you.
Yeah.
Gonna be hard labor work, Ken. I go ahead and tell you now, gonna be hard labor work.
I made a decision with all of this talk of what happens when the grid goes down and everything. One person said you can't do it all alone, and that is absolutely true. And there are people out there that can't do for themselves, and there's going to be a lot of people that need help.
True.
Well, I made a decision. We'll help those that truly cannot do for themselves. But if you have the ability to do anything, you're going to earn it. If you can stand there and cook a meal, you ain't got to do nothing else. Cook the meal. Help us out. I'll help you. If you can clean, I'll help you. If you can work on a farm, we'll help you.
Well, people are going to have to survive. I mean,
when the crap hits the fan,
and of course, the people that's not able to
give it away.
We're already commanded by Jesus to help them. There's no way around it.
But if they can help, yes, they may be disabled, but they may be able to sit in a chair and peel potatoes.
So, and that's the way our ancestors did. They worked together as a community. I remember my dad talking about so and so down the road.
Sorry, guys.
Was sick.
And everybody'd go together.
And some of the other families in the community went down there and plowed his fields for him, or they harvested his crop for him. I remember when I was real little, I actually picked cotton one time by hand. That's hard to believe. You know, I was born in 1968. I'm 55 years old. Most everybody around here then had cotton pickers. I actually remember when I was about 6 years old, so that would have been about 74, the year you was born. I remember actually picking cotton by hand, and I'm gonna tell you, I did not like it. Them little old stickers on cotton is rough. I see why people had their hands wrapped up, and it was rough. And boy, I was proud to see that 2-row cotton picker that Daddy had. I was like, woo, you know, I know why he bought that thing. But what had happened was a guy was supposed to pick my uncle's cotton. He wasn't able to get there with his cotton picker. And we had to get the crop out. So our whole family went down there and helped pick that cotton. And I mean, even the little bitty kids. And I remember, I see why that was so rough. And I'm glad I got to experience that to see what it was really about. You know, mechanical, it takes a lot of stuff out of it, you know, with the tractors and cotton.
There's a lot of waste with mechanical,
but
there's a lot of stuff saved.
Oh, yeah. So
I just want to go glean the field.
Yeah. So that's just like gathering wheat. I have helped gather it one time with a scythe. I guess that's how you pronounce it. That's work. I mean, I'm gonna tell you that is some, which it'd probably do me some good. That'd help me lose this belly again. But get back down.
Kind of like us gathering all that hay this year. That was some work. Yeah, I mean, I didn't cut the hay, but I raked it up, gathered it up, hauled it to the house, and stored it. And whew, imagine what our ancestors had to do. I mean, that's just the hay side of it. That's not the food side.
Was anybody? We got about 10 minutes left. Has anybody got any questions that maybe I can answer? And Misty, I will go look up about acorns.
Oh my gosh, there will be a lot of not just the younger generation, my generation too, of people that are going to get a wake up call. My generation, even though I'm just 6 years younger than Mark, you know, we had it all handed to us. I mean, I did not. I got raised by a family that didn't quite have anything to start with to hand to me. So I was processing chickens in the backyard and, you know, growing it and all that stuff. But even my age people are going to have a wake up call if the crap hits the fan.
Yeah. In this country, we have had it made for so long. Everything is instant. I mean, we got instant fast food. We can walk in a grocery. I remember my mother talked about when grocery stores really came about. I mean, back then you had little country stores where they went and got their stuff. And, I mean, you had butchers everywhere. And I remember her cousin had a store, and we'd go up there, and that's where she'd get bologna or that type of stuff that we didn't already have, you know, that we didn't raise on the farm.
Exactly, Misty.
Yeah, a lot of people, we've been fortunate, but it's also spoiled us.
Yes. Those of us, not me, again, per se, that were not raised by that Depression era group, like Misty said, how many have ever grown the first flower or skinned their first critter? Not many.
Not many. Not this day and time.
I mean, there's so many people, yeah, they know how to garden, but they don't know how to start a plant from seed even, because they just go to the store and buy it. And if it fails, oh well. And the only way they can grow anything is if they put hundreds of dollars into it, where it costs more to grow it than to go to the store to start with. I mean, that's just not being sufficient when you're putting so much money into something to grow it rather than learning how to actually grow it to start with.
I hate to say it, that will, when it does happen, it will separate the boys from the men. I guess I hate to say it that way, but it will.
Yeah. And yeah, Misty, that's kind of like me and Mark, when we started building this farm, we had that decision. I mean, we talked about it because people were always needing. Somebody needed food, somebody needed help, somebody needed this. And when we needed help, nobody was here. We have asked for people to come help me do canning, help me do harvesting, help me do the gardening, help me do this, help me do that. Nobody ever shows up. But we give.
Well, we're going, it's all right.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. But when the crap hits the fan, we're going to have to make some decisions on who we can and can't help. You want dinner, come help. We'll feed you dinner.
Yeah. It's trying to think what to say there for a minute, but
yeah, it's something we gotta deal with when and if that happens. Yeah.
And a lot of people are gonna ride the boat out till the boat goes over the falls. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, we got a few minutes left. Has anybody asked any questions?
Let's see.
That we might can answer.
Misty says she works the garden and animals by herself every year. That's kind of me. I work what I can. Mark does what he can in the few hours of a day he gets. But it's mostly me. He helps me do processing.
We need to just have a big canning weekend.
We do.
That we'll do that.
If they'll show up, I've offered it.
Well.
Ken says You know he would if he was closer, and he still needs to come build my counters. Yes, I need counters. Mine won't be hard to make. You didn't help me. Sorry. That's her decision. You didn't help me. Sorry. And Misty
It's a
says, how
tough
about them
decision.
boogers?
Huh?
Misty says, how about them boogers?
Well, I do need to send you a message, Misty. I will send that to you later. Something that's in y'all's area you might go check out.
Oh, yeah.
Remember I was talking about it the other night?
Yeah.
And I
I've
meant being,
offered gardens. I've done that too. People that can't garden, come here, garden.
I used to do
Nobody
when I used to
comes.
grow a lot of big pea patches and watermelon. I'd let people
on
come pick on
halves.
halves. I'd tell them, look, because I'd have to go out to the
Mhm.
quarry and work that day or whatever. I said, look, here's this pea field.
Come pick. Take
Pick
some
what
home.
you can. We'll pick it on halves. So half of it's yours. You can go sell it.
Mhm.
You can go put it up. I don't care. You just bring me my half.
Yep.
You can't even get people to do that no more.
We do the same thing with processing days.
Yeah.
If you come help with processing, you take food home.
Yeah. We give rabbits or
Mhm.
chickens or
Whatever we're processing.
I mean, we don't expect nobody to come here and do
No.
it for free. I want people to come here and
But
learn.
nobody's interested in learning.
Yeah.
They
Now,
just want the freebie.
now when the let me watch it.
Yep.
When the plague
The virus. The
came through,
the
we got,
thing.
we had some people get in because everything got shut down. I even got shut down from my job for 6 weeks,
Mhm.
which is unheard of. So, of course, during that time period, our rabbit sales went out the roof.
Yep.
Um,
And then, of course, when
eggs.
everybody got tired of rabbits, it dropped again.
Yeah. So, but like I said, anybody that wants to get into rabbits, me and Rebecca will help you set you up. They're easy to handle, actually.
Very.
And they produce fertilizer. Free fertilizer.
Yep. We are probably going to drop the herd in half this year.
Yeah.
So there's a lot headed to freezer camp unless somebody wants a breeding pair.
Yeah. So
trio is best.
Yeah.
That way you breed both, and if one has a problem, you've got the other to foster.
And that's ready meat if you wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
If you play cards right and watch it right, you could really do it. Spencer must have to go.
Yeah, I think he did. Well, he has to go cook.
Mr. D still around?
Yes, in fact, he just commented. He
Okay.
said, "What's scary is when the crap hits the fan does happen. You're going to have some people that survive by taking from others by force, and that is absolute truth."
Yeah, you don't have
and
that
that's why
problem.
you have to have a community to protect and everything. Yeah, it's going to be ugly when the crap hits the fan. And I didn't even say if that time. It's going to be ugly when the crap hits the fan.
Oh, it's coming sooner or later.
Misty said, I said, help me work it up and work in it and get whatever you want and plant anything you have room for, but no help, but take the finished products. Yep. And Ken said he's interested, but distance. And Misty said she loved rabbits. So, yeah. So,
Well, what we might have to do is have a big weekend one day, a camp out, and everybody just come down here, or we'll go somewhere else and do a big bunch of canning or something.
Mm-hmm.
Just set up the propane burn.
My fear is that it'll end up being just me. When I schedule that big canning weekend, it'll be just me.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We may try to do it again this year. We may try to do it.
I definitely need to try it.
Try it one more time. And
I need to hold just a plain bean cannon to teach people how to can a dry bean so that they're usable and don't take all night to cook.
True.
I mean,
and there's another thing you can do too that a lot of people don't think about. What she just brought up, you can actually go to the store,
buy up them beans,
and buy up them beans and can them.
Get
Or
them
you
ready
go
to
buy them
use.
bags of limas or pea if you don't have time to grow it, but you want to preserve it for a while. I mean, you can go to the store and buy a lot of that stuff and can it. A lot of people do that. they'll go to these produce places and buy a certain thing and go home can it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people down here do that. They'll go up here on the Sand Mountain where all our
Buy it in
tomatoes
bulk.
are grown in Alabama. They'll go up there and buy cases, and then they'll go
Mm-hmm.
home and they'll sit there and can all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll go up to where all the apple orchards are, and they'll
Mm-hmm.
buy a bunch of apples, come home and do their stuff. And
Yep.
a lot of the older people that used to buy from me a lot, that's what they were doing. They'd come buy 2 or 3 bushels of peas from
Or
me,
beans.
and they would go home and they'd have canning weekend all weekend.
Yep.
So there's different ways, but you can go to the store and buy it like that too. You can can meat. You just got to be a lot careful with it and watch the times.
Yeah, definitely.
You
the
can go to the
times
store
are
and buy
important.
whole chickens and cut them up, put them in a jar and can them.
Yep.
Sausage. I don't know how pork chops and stuff would be, but I bet you could do it.
I've heard people doing it.
Yeah.
I haven't done it, just like I haven't canned sausage and stuff, but yeah.
I know we was talking about we was going to try to can some rabbit one time.
Yes.
So
Still need to do that.
so,
Yeah, we didn't get that last batch of rabbits in time. We fed them to Marshall instead. He enjoyed that.
on boogers, nothing's really happened this week.
I think we have some paranormal happening though.
We
Need to
did
sage
go.
the house.
We did go out to number 2 watershed last Friday evening.
Mm-hmm.
Walked around, heard something god awful across the lake carrying on. I don't know if the video caught it or not.
What did you send that it?
Huh?
It hid that
What it is?
a face with a over it. I mean,
It's just YouTube, baby.
oh, I know.
But
I just went in there and showed it.
So
I mean,
part of Friday's fireside chat, I have part
oh,
of number 2 watershed on it, and then I got to finish up something. We need to walk right out there and see if any of that sign's still there, and then I'll get back up on Creepy Mountain starting this
Mhm.
weekend and hitting some places. Of course, I got to go up there and cut that hickory tree has failed,
yes.
so I may have them show up while I'm cutting up the tree.
Right.
They'll be wondering why that chainsaw's running.
Yep.
Don't know of anything else I can think of. I know Spencer and Misty had a good show this past week with Sisters of the Moon. Really enjoyed that.
We do need to chat, Misty. We do.
Yeah, well, y'all got each other's phone number. Just talk one day.
I work too much.
Well, y'all might have to set a time.
That's
or
it
something.
exactly. We need to set a time.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, y'all can. That way, y'all can discuss the paranormal and do y'all show later on.
Yep.
Where I can sit back over here and stay quiet and I just have to say it. Do like Spencer be in the background.
Uh-huh.
I had something else I was going to say, and my brain has forgot it as usual. I can't remember. I guess it wasn't important.
You were going to finish up something and look at something.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay. Then get back up on Creepy Mountain.
That's it. I got to get back because the next few weeks is going to be my time to really check some stuff up there. Since the deer hunters are gone, and I got a few weeks before the turkey hunters get started, so I'll be able to move freely around the hunting club till about March 25th. Let's see.
All the emails are now popping up on the screen.
Yeah. If nobody has no other questions, I guess we'll get ready to get off here.
Well, you need to start getting off here anyway because it's after 7 now.
Yeah, we good. We got a few moments.
So,
if y'all got any questions, leave it in the comments. If you happen to think about it after the live, leave it in comments or text me or message Rebecca, whatever.
portal story one day.
Well,
I think we did touch on that this past
well, I'll tell
video,
you
didn't
what.
we?
I'll tell you what I might do this weekend since they won't nobody be up there. I'll walk. I may just go in there and film.
So,
And show the exact spot. I
Yep.
need to get Keith on.
Yeah.
Because Keith, and I can't remember that lady's name. The other two ladies, that's what kills me. I can't remember everybody that used to come here.
Long haulers.
Um,
If you know, you know. Long
let's see, it was
haulers.
me and Connie standing in the road with the other lady that wouldn't get out of the truck because she was scared to death. Not making fun of her. I'd been nervous too because it was her first time. And then
Well, they're
Keith,
saying later anyway, so.
Then Keith and the other two ladies went out in the field. Lori knows one of the ladies. I had to call Lori and get Lori to remind me what that lady's name was. But I need to get Keith really on.
Wasn't Amy one of them?
No, Amy was
Okay.
the one that had the one step out in the field on her in
Okay.
that same field.
Okay.
And yeah, so well, I'm gonna get into that. I got a lot of stuff I got to get in on Creepy Mountain. I got to get the gifting in when me and Keith was feeding them.
You gotta get all the stuff in they did to your house, even.
Yeah, I wonder if she didn't come down there and feed my old place. She probably would.
She might.
She's kin folks anyway. She probably wouldn't say nothing. She'd probably look at me crazy. Hey, I want to film a little bit about Bigfoot while I'm down here. She'd probably say, well, go ahead, Mark.
Or she might say, film about what?
Oh, her brother already knows.
Yeah, but that's her brother.
Yeah, he's done seen him.
That's her
I need
brother.
to get him on.
Need to get him on, yeah.
I do.
And he said anytime.
Yeah, he did. So it's hard to catch up with everybody
It is.
because everybody's so busy
And you work thirds.
and everybody's got stuff going on.
And you work thirds.
And I work thirds.
And you have to sleep sometime.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's wrap this up and get off here.
Everybody, remember everybody we support. Mr. Chris with Discover Sasquatch, Spencer and Misty with Woodwalkers, Misty and her family with Southern Appalachian Sasquatch Seekers. Kyle.
Do you have a goat kit now? Oh, no, I see goat LOL, sorry.
Kyle with Encrypted Connections, and Lauren Smith will be on there as a guest tomorrow night. I don't know what time it is.
I remember Ken. Ken met our squatch at the other place.
That's right, he did.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot. We're going to have him on.
Got to get him on one day.
That's right. When he camped out down on the creek that time.
Ken, you need to come visit.
Yeah.
I guess we could do StreamYard with you.
Of course, the guys at Beast TV, sooner or later they're going to be back on. Let's see, Mr. Barton Nunley with Inhumanoids. He doesn't put videos out every day. He does about once every 2 weeks. And of course, go over there and check out Hellbent Holler. They got some pretty cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They are getting into the lights and stuff now. They went to the Brown Mountain Lights. One of these days we're gonna go up there. That's up there above Asheville. Misty, that's not too far from you. You ought to go check that out. You may already know about it, but
you love it, Ken. You love it.
What's that?
He said yes, he does, but dadgum school board is keeping him busy because he got elected to the school board.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, we need to go visit him in South
We
Carolina.
do.
Because I need to go over there and go to that town some of my people come
Yep,
from over
you
there. My people migrated down from Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama. And some of them into Tennessee.
Let's see. What's that, Mark? Misty said.
The Brown Mountain Lights.
Oh.
Because you're not far from the Smokies, right? And
Is that the email you're going to send her?
no.
Okay.
I'll send
That's
her.
a whole nother email.
I'll send her a message later. I get to work or something tonight when I have time. I'll sit down, type it out. This will be somewhere you might can go check out for Sasquatch, which you probably already got a bunch of places, but
She's in East Tennessee.
Okay, so she is right there close.
Mm-hmm.
This place is probably not too far from you, so or not probably within an hour or so of you. A guy at work kind of told me something the other night. Place he's been up there several times, and some weird stuff went on. So might be a place for y'all to go check out, and if he can find out exactly what road it was on.
Yeah.
He's supposed to ask his wife tonight and find out exactly what road it was on. They were riding around in the Smokies on the dirt roads, and there's some big bridge. It's an iron bridge in there. I think
That's
it's
the
on
same one we watched that video with.
Yeah, I showed him that video of that, and he went to talking about that place.
I remember. Okay.
He's done been through there.
Yeah, I remember.
And he said, Mark, I've been there. I was like, you have? And he said, yeah, there's some weird stuff in there too. And I said, I said, okay. I said, well, it's too far for me to go check out. But I said, I know somebody that might want to go check that out. So
he'll hook you up, Misty.
Yeah, might be a place for y'all to go. And later on, me and Rebecca
Weaver's Bend.
Huh?
Weaver's Bend. Maybe not.
Going into the Calahoochee or something valley.
He'll message you.
I'll message you tonight. It's on the North Carolina side, I think. Yep.
Anybody that was following my mother with a stroke, she's back home. No nursing home at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Deep South Homestead. If you're looking at Homestead Permapastures, they're right there in Asheville, North Carolina.
Love Permapastures.
They do a lot of stuff the Permapasture way, which is
Calahoochee. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I'll send you a message about that later tonight. I'll send it to you. It may be on in the morning now. I don't know how busy we'll be when we get to work, but I will send it to you, and that might be something y'all check out.
Yep.
And then one day, me and Rebecca will show up. So
one day
we'll make a surprise. No, we won't make it. We'll make.
It might be a surprise. You never know.
Well, we need to go back. I ain't been to Smokies in a while.
She says she knows exactly where it is. That's an elk refuge.
Yeah, because they were going to look at the elk, but there's a place before they got to where the elk was. It was on a gravel road, and there's an iron bridge. It's a creek. I'll
see where it is.
Okay, well, you might want to go. I'll send you a message later tonight.
Definitely food source.
Yeah. And but he heard some stuff, and because he knows I do Bigfoot stuff, and he went talking about it the other night. So
cool.
Because I would love to ride in the Smokies, not on the paved roads, but on the dirt roads. I know everybody up there goes most paved road. I want to hit the back roads and get in the backwoods.
Yep.
And I want
you need to start recording people's conversations with you on stuff like this. Whether you actually show their face or not, you need to record the conversations. Of course, I was going to say, and get their permission, not use their name. And if they don't want their face used, then just use my prescription's ready now. I can, you know how we did Brandy where we filmed the fire that night? We can do the same sort of thing. Just get their story on recording.
He already lives in Talladega National Forest. He's got stuff around his house now. I mean, he lives going to Cheehaw. And out his back door already Cheehaw's 11 miles, and there ain't nothing in there, So, but I like to go. If we ever do go, because like when we went to Tellico Plains, is it Tellico or Tellico? Oh, anyway, and we went camping with Brandy and them on the Hiwassee River. I mean, that was beautiful back in there because you're actually starting to get in the country. And on the back roads, and that's where you see stuff.
Are we fixing to start another conversation?
No, we got to go.
We got to go. 7:15.
Yeah, I got a minute. But anyway, everybody give us a subscribe, like, comment, give us comments especially, and I appreciate everybody coming on tonight and asking questions. And of course, I hadn't kept up with most of it, but. Of course, remember, love one another and get along. And I ain't talking about cutting up. I'm talking about getting along. Cutting up's a whole different ball game. And
quit fighting so much.
I ain't. Well, I'm talking about cutting up now.
I know.
But I'm talking about people disagreeing when none of us are experts.
Which is why I said quit fighting so much. Yeah. If somebody believes this, let them believe it.
Yeah. Because who says it ain't true? I wasn't over there when it happened, so I can't say it wasn't true. So I don't know why people do that, but people get along, love one another like we're supposed to, things would go a lot better.
That's right.
All right. Y'all have a good night, and we love y'all, and be safe, and we'll see you next week. And of course, this week, Fireside will come out. And
hopefully, you ain't filmed it yet.
We got part of it.
Okay.
We got tired digging as far before we went to the watershed, so we got a little bit, and then I'll probably hit this tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
And, see y'all later. Bye bye.